Good morning, lovely people, and welcome to the next episode of Behind the Scenes of Your Career with Carpool Careers with Jess. I am going to keep this short and sweet today because the question I'll be answering via the article that dropped with Women on Top a few weeks ago is pretty standard, pretty short and sweet. And I really want you all to get the basics of what they asked me, which was how to create a more successful resume. And it's such an important question because there's so much more to that question when it comes to selling yourself for the positions that you actually want to attract, for the hiring managers you want to attract, for the companies you want to attract and work for. And I think people don't realize that through your resume, you can actually attract the type of company and employer that you're looking to work for, and not to mention the position that you want to land. So with that said, it was very short and sweet answer, straight and to the point, and I want to give you the same opportunity because if you master these three things, I can guarantee you that you'll be selling yourself for the positions, hiring managers, and companies you want to work for and within your career. So, without further ado, drum roll please. The first step in building a successful resume that will attract the employers that you want to attract is speak the industry language. Especially if you are pivoting into a new industry that you've never worked in before. And the reason I say this is because there is lingo or verbiage or words that industries use across the board to express certain terminology, certain skill sets, etc. So be mindful and be aware. Read some job descriptions in those industries, especially, again, if you're pivoting into the industry. And speak the lingo, speak the language of the industry, right? And what I mean by that, and I'll give you a very, very simple example, is if you're applying for accounting jobs, use the words accounting and finance. Don't use the word money. Use the word cash. They use cash. Use the words accounts receivables, account payable. Those are the words that you're going to want to sprinkle throughout your resume, especially if you're applying for an accounting position, right? So don't use the word money, don't use the word bills, And I know this sounds silly, but you would be surprised to see how many resumes I see with basic terminology as if they were having a conversation, and they're not highlighting the terminology or using the verbiage that the industry would use on their resume rather. Now, the second vitality in using this verbiage, right? The second reason why this is so vital is the fact that there is something, again, called an applicant tracking system. And what applicant tracking systems do is they allow hiring managers to put keywords into these tracking systems to search your resume for these certain keywords that, in theory, are going to deem you as a high match for these positions, right? And if you are not speaking the industry language, most likely you're not going to be deemed or qualified as a high match candidate for this position, right? And you'll just get a thank you but no thank you email, and you'll move on to the next one, crossing your fingers and hoping that you'll land the job you want. So for step one in creating a more successful resume, it's going to be speak the industry language. Read some job descriptions, talk to people in that industry, get used to the language and the verbiage and the words that they use to express the skills that they need, to express the jobs, the roles that they do, and make sure that your resume speaks that language. Now, the second thing to having a more successful resume is going to be solve the problems that the company tells you they have in the job description. This, to me, is one of the things that people miss the most, right? Is taking a look at the job description okay, let me rewind, I'm sorry. I understand that it is a lot to ask an applicant who's trying to apply for a new job and submitting 50 resumes or 50 applications a day, etc., to cater your resume for every single job that you apply for. I get it, and I'm not asking you to do that, nor do I ask my clients to do that. Your resume should be strong enough to apply for roles throughout the industry. However, what I will say is if there's a job you are applying for that this is it, this is the one you want, you're pumped, you're excited about it, you really want to land this job, that's where you pull out all the stops. Read the job description. Take a look at what they're asking for, what they're looking for in a candidate. Is it someone with, high-level communication skills? Is it someone with strong administrative skills? Is it someone who knows a specific method? Is it someone who knows a specific program? And make sure that you're highlighting those skills in your resume. And the reason for that is because most likely what people put in a job description is asking you to solve a problem that they're missing. It's the missing link. They're asking you to be the missing link to fill a need that they cannot fill right now with whoever they have in their company, in their team, in their department, right? And so in the job description, you're going to notice that they're going to mention, basically what I call a hiring manager's wish list as to the type of person they want to hire with the type of skill set that they want them to have upon starting the role. So pay attention to those job descriptions and the jobs that you're really excited for, and make sure your resume solves the problems they tell you they have in that job description, okay? And then the last thing for creating a more successful / strong resume is going to be highlight your accomplishments rather than your job duties. I'm going to say that again. Number 3 is highlight your accomplishments more than your job duties. Your day-to-day typically doesn't matter when you're climbing the ladder, and here's why, right? Most people will know, and I'm just going to throw some job titles out. Most people know what a server does. Most people know what a bank teller does. Most people know what a teacher does, right? You don't have to tell me you teach. You don't have to tell me you answer people's questions at the bank when they come up. You help them deposit their money. You help them, get a check, etc. If you're a server, you serve food. You bring food to the table. You bring drinks to the table. You take orders. You bring them their check at the end of the dinner, right? And my point in saying all that is most people do not want to be distracted or bogged down by your daily duties that they already know you take care of. They want to know, how were you different in that role? What did you accomplish? What did you bring to the table? How did you help the company be better? How did you help the department be better? They want you to showcase it, especially when you are going from a regular role to a leadership role or a supervisory role. They want you to showcase your leadership skills. How did you lead? How did you lead a project? How did you lead a team? What skills do you have that are different that make you stand out? And furthermore, if you're talking about accomplishments, what's going to be a game changer for you in your resume is if you can tie values to those accomplishments. Increased revenue by X amount of dollars or X amount percent by doing fill in the blank, right? By accomplishing fill in the blank. So pay close attention, right, to your resume and really be mindful and intentional about the fact that you are wanting to highlight what you've accomplished, why you're different, why you're the ideal candidate, rather than here's a task list of what I did on my day-to-day basis, right? They'll ask you that in the interview. You don't need to showcase those skill sets unless they are pertinent to the job that you are applying for, right? For example, if you are applying to an accounting role, and I use this because it resonates with most people. If you're applying to an accounting role, but you've never been in an accounting role before, however, in your current roles, you've handled cash, you've deposited checks, you've closed bank accounts, whatever that looks like, right? You want to make sure you're highlighting those positions, or those skill sets rather, that happened in your day-to-day that will be relevant, right? Relevant to the position that you're applying for. So highlight your accomplishments and make sure that any tasks you're highlighting in your resume are relevant to the job that you're applying for. So again, I'm going to recap this, right? And I tried to keep this short and sweet today, but I'm going to recap this to say 3 best ways to make your resume stand out or attract positions / employers / companies and hiring managers that you want to work for are going to be 1, speak the industry language, 2, solve the problems that they tell you they have in their job descriptions, and highlight your accomplishments rather than your daily duties. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully this was helpful. If you liked this conversation, please subscribe, please leave any questions you have in the comments of my video. Also, if there are any topics you would enjoy riding along to work with me and having me explain or dive deeper into, please also leave that in the comments. You can follow me on Instagram too, @YourCareers. DM me from there as well. I'd love to be connected. I am also on LinkedIn as Your Careers, and I've linked my website in the description below to the show. So thank you so much for joining me today for another Carpool Careers with Jess on Behind the Scenes of Your Career. Thank you.